something to behold, and she wasn't recognized at all.
I do understand the difference, that we can't micromanage a strong chief, and that's fine. I'm concerned about the legality of the fact that we fired somebody or got rid of that position a couple town meetings ago. I remember us having major discussions about it, that we eliminated that position on town hall, the floor, on the town meeting floor, and I just didn't know if we were to allow, or if the chief decided to reinstate that position again, that we open ourselves up for another lawsuit. That's what I don't know about the legality of it. That's what I would be afraid of.
Well, I think we're past the idea even talking about a sergeant. I mean, it is in my mind. I mean, I think we're going to, I would hope that the board would follow with the corporal position the way it is. And maybe I'm not getting the same signal that the other two share.
So,
but I'm beyond the idea of a sergeant at this time. I'm more in favor of a pay increase for the corporal. But you know, this idea of always being afraid that somebody's going to sue you, I think that's kind of a terrible way to run anything. You know, I mean, we did away with horse-drawn snow rollers. If we decide to go back to that, is that going to be a problem? You know, I mean.
Right, but then if we're going to stick with that, which I agree to some extent, why are we asking for so much detail on his budget? Why don't we just give him what it is, and why are we having this whole discussion?
Oh, I think this is an excellent point to have discussions of.
I agree, but to not talk about the difference between a corporal and a sergeant, or a different pay raise, you know, is going with the same ideas that if we're, I don't see a difference if we're arguing about these points here, and if we're talking about a strong chief and he gives us the bottom line, we can't micromanage what he does. We shouldn't be. You hired a strong chief. That was the decision.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the opportunity to deficit spend. I mean, we do have a little bit of power of the purse. Our town meeting has that power. So.
My concern goes back to when Wayne Sampson was here, and he was very explicit about what he thought we should or should not do. And his recommendation is you didn't go above corporal unless they were full-time academy. So that was quite a time we had. He came in, he gave that. So I'm not predisposed to wanting to go sergeant. I would rather see it stay corporal, and some monetary arrangement for her services if she's taking care of a lot of things when you're not there, etc. seems reasonable.
I'll tell you where I am on the whole deal is throw out the stipend, and we'll give the corporal a $1.20 pay increase in that. So you take out $2,600 and put in $1,250. That's where I am on it.
What does it turn out to be?
$1,248, $1,250. That's figuring $1.20 on 20 hours a week for 52 weeks.
The hourly rate for a reserve officer is what?
$15.61.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that you would be establishing an hourly rate for the corporal $1.20
above that.
$1.20?
$1.20 premium over that.
Or $16.81.
Can you use 20 for simpler math? Because part-time if she was at 19, yeah. So it makes it easy to multiply.
And if you have some investigations and there's some extra hours
to add to the budget.
It's 26 hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Tom, your recommendation is based on position as opposed to merit. Correct. That the corporal deserves a higher rate of pay than the reserve officer.
That would be my proposal at this point.
And the different duties that she has among the other reserve officers.
Do we want to make a, while we're on the topic, I'll make up that motion that effective July 1st, we pay the corporal's position $1.20 more than the other reserve officers.
I'll second it and get it on the table.
Discuss away.
I think the chief knows his people. I think he knows what they're worth, and I think we should allow him to manage his department, and we control the purse strings. It's a respectful process, and I think the difference is not worth talking about since she never got the money last year. I think this is a reasonable amount. I don't think it's overly lavish. So I would suggest that we do the $2,600, and I don't really care if it's a stipend monthly or quarterly or salary, whatever's easier to manage.
I mean, the easiest thing in my mind to manage would be have it in the payroll system, and every time a time card comes through.
If I had to make a choice, I'd say figure it on 19 hours and control it and do it that way. Put it in the rate.
Chief, what's your position on what I'm proposing? I mean,
Oh,
the stipend, yeah, but are you going to give a stipend to a corporal? I mean, you had that marked as a stipend for a sergeant.
Well, I mean, I would like to make a comment on the sergeant thing. I think the problem we're having is we're worried about reinstating the position of sergeant because of what happened. Now, I wasn't here when the other sergeant was here. I don't know what happened. I've heard the rumors. But I think, personally, I think it's unfair to group any or to block somebody from acceding to a position because of what happened with a totally different person 3 years ago. I think that's unfair. Just as it would be unfair to me as a chief to hold me to a certain standard based on the last 5 chiefs before me. I don't think that's fair either. What they did, right or wrong, I'm who I am. Diane is who she is. She is not the other person. And I just think it's unfair to hold her back, for lack of a better word, from achieving a higher rank because of the issues that arose with the other sergeant. I understand what you said about this was brought up at a town meeting. My understanding is the position was eliminated as a full-time position. Based on my knowledge of the law, I don't think that would set any type of precedent or set the town up for any kind of a problem if we were to bring that position back as a part-time reserve position. That's just my opinion. I just think it's unfair to Diane, to Corporal Wilder, to compare her to the person that was in her position before.
I was
That's all I'm
just
saying.
concerned about the legality. When
No, I
somebody
understand.
gets into a position,
Right.
can we start that position back up again within a certain time period? Or we open ourselves up for lawsuit? Doesn't matter who she is or what she does.
Right.
We get rid of that position for whatever reason, and that person is gone. Is there a certain time period? I didn't know about the personnel employment
And I think
of the state.
it's very difficult to do, but I would like us to focus on the position, not the person in that position.
Oh, I'm thinking about the position.
And it's very
I'm thinking
difficult,
about
it is
personnel.
very difficult to do. We're not working with a police force of hundreds, so, we just don't go by badge number. So,
I'm thinking of the position. I'm not thinking about the person whatsoever. Please don't get me wrong.
Paulette, do you?
I'm
What's your
in agreement with you. I think it should stay corporal, and I think your proposal, the 20 hours builds in a little extra over the course of the year. We just did $1.20 for a foreman in the highway department, so that seems like a rational number to use to increase, the corporal for more responsibility than she's doing. And they're all still part-time officers, and I think that's a reasonable proposal to me.
I think it's a good place to start.
I think, from my standpoint, I think $1.20 an hour increase for 19 hours or less a week makes very good sense. It represents effectively a 7.7% increase in wage rate. in light of what we will be talking about later tonight, I would hope, that seems proportionate to the situation. If the $2,600 stipend we're engaged in for roughly 20 hours a week, it does, as Tom suggested, represent a $2.50 per hour increase, which is like a 15% increase. And I think that my colleagues would think of that as a bit breathtaking in the context of what others we think should be awarded in terms of repositioning their salary or wage rate. So to me, the $1.20 is a more moderate and I think appropriate and significant. It's not the $2,600, I understand that.
Oh, it's way
But it's a
better.
significant and relatively significant increase.
Way better than a hot stick in the eye.
I guess my other concern on reserve wages is just, I wouldn't want to see the timesheets now have all the part-time officers mounting that up to 40 hours a week, because that will defeat the purpose of leaving a little bit of time behind for some peaks times for how you need to distribute that. That's all.
These guys all work full-time jobs every time, they work 40 hours a week.
Right, sure.
No, I don't mean 40 hours a week each, but I meant
Oh,
40 hours over the
Understood.
a week, because in theory, you're kind of squirreling away some extra time to use at a different time when it needs more time. So,
Any other discussion on the select board on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Got that, Mary?
We do have another recording device.
Oh, we've got another recording. Is it running 1, 2, 7 there? What do you got? Just the video read device, huh?
Ted, what were your other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dues, the increase from 700 to 1,200, that's,
Yeah, we're not, the $700 doesn't even cover the Mass Police Chief's dues. And the Mass Police Chiefs also includes a liability policy fee. And that, the dues for that alone are over $700. And then I also belong to Western Mass, IACP, and Franklin County. We also, the department also subscribes to another service, which is an investigative through the state police. It's called NESPIN, and it's an annual subscription. I think it's about $35 for that, and that allows us